Welcome back, everyone. Good morning. We're a little bit too zoomed in here. There we go. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Buenos dias. How we doing? Get out. Anyone who watches F1? I hate George Russell. What a little you know what. He's out here telling the press that Max Verstappen threatened him. Funny. Morning, everyone. Team Cost. Yeah, 1,000 Costco. Probably going to see that soon, Chef. Morning, Margin. Morning, everyone with a green name today. Good morning, all the supporters. Appreciate all you guys. All the familiar faces. Well, let's get started. I got nothing else to say. But market up 21,400 holding yesterday. Everything just going, looking great. Some levels to be watching above on some individual equities. We'll obviously talk about all of them. We'll talk about the spots to look for the pullback longs. We'll get that nice game plan going, and let's make it another beautiful day. Sunmit, thanks for all the selfless education. I'm trying to apply our teachings on the Indian market and profitably. Very nice. That's awesome. What's the Indian, what is it, the Nifty? Is that what it's called? The Nifty? I think that's what it is, right? Thank you, Sunmit. Appreciate that, brother. What is that in dollars? I'd love to know. Probably like, what is that? What is that, a rupee? Is that 400 rupees? What is that? I don't even know. Yeah, it is. I wish I could, man, I said this before and I'm going to say it again. I wish I could just take that, like, I want the rupees. I want to, like, save them, you know? I would think that'd be cool. It'd be nice to be able to print out a rupee. All right. The Nifty. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the support. And hopefully you're getting value out of it. All right, let's start it up. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Bitcoin, Buttcoin, Buttcoin 100K. Congratulations to the Buttcoin boys. What a day. Big move on the cryptos overnight. MSTR, Coinbase. Nice moves overnight as well. Today, not too much on the docket here. Congratulations to the Buttcoin boys. Thursday, that's today. Unemployment claims 8:30. We'll see what happens there. That's really about it today, guys. We had the OPEC meeting this morning. What did oil do on that? Let's see here. Just basically stayed flat. A little bit of volatility, but Friday, yet tomorrow, average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and that's pretty much the end of the week, guys. So just today, a little unemployment claims 8:30. Let's see what happens there. And then let's keep going. So, earnings, we had, what did we have yesterday? Anything big yesterday? Yesterday, where the hell is it? Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Yesterday, we had nothing major. Today, we have a few retail names after hours to be interested in. Ulta and Lululemon. So let's watch those. Lulu and Ulta, we'll see those report earnings tonight, but nothing really that I'm too focused on. So let's continue. Let's get into the NASDAQ. Yeah, Square 100, man. Congratulations to the Square boys. We were spot on that thing. All right, NASDAQ futures. Let's jump into the levels. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. Let's talk about sort of that concept that we were talking about is that, this could keep going higher before we get the big pullback, right? This could keep going higher before we get our really structured pullback. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn this level yellow so that we all can sort of remember and have a good way to remember what I'm watching here. This yellow area right here, this 21,340 previous all-time high is without a doubt, right, the best, in my opinion, long entry. That's this spot right here. That would be a retest, right? And we've seen this plenty of times. This would be a retest of the previous all-time high. It might be, right? It's either between that 21,340 or it is that 21,250. It's one of these two levels where that really nice next great pullback long will step in, right? So if we look at this 4-hour chart, this is that previous high area, right? We have the previous highs here and these previous triple top highs here. I think your next major long on a pullback will come in, right, somewhere within this zone, either at the 340 or at the 250. So that's going to be, that major spot that I continue to watch between those two levels. Now, as of now, we're not getting that. And because the market's just in full on, bull mode. So we're not really getting that pullback quite yet. But I would make sure you remember that anything of a pullback that's still above here, right, or still above this, sort of gap fill here is still a beautiful long opportunity. No doubt about it, right? If we go down to here, I would still be looking for that long. If we drop down into that 250, I would still be looking for that long. These are spots you should be paying attention to. Once again, if you guys remember, if we go back to that daily chart on the ES, what did we talk about the last time around? Look, remember that ES we talked about back in early November? What were we talking about? What were we waiting for? We were waiting for this retest at 59.15, which we had a squeeze and we had, a couple days of consolidation or of continuation without a pullback. Eventually, the big red day came in, pulled back to that previous high and created the next long, right? So you have these big expansion periods, right, where pullbacks don't have to happen instantly, but eventually, what did you get, guys, after two of the most recent major upside moves? Look at these 2 days, right? See this? And see this? Guys, this will come, right? These days will happen. These red days that panic people out of this trade, right? The profit-taking move, the panic trade, right? Those red days will come in. It will happen, right? And so you'll see, at some point, one of these red moves that we need to make sure we're paying attention to, okay? And being confident that we still want to look for that pullback long. Now it looks like it's around that 6,000, and we'll dive deeper into this. But now, right, what's the next stair-step level? It's that previous all-time high. It looks to be around that, right, 6,030 zone, and we'll go a little bit deeper and look at this. But, right, it's the same exact thing. See? Lows, 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 stair-stepping upside. So we're not there yet, right, on the NASDAQ futures, but I think that will happen at some point, and when it does, that is going to be the trade that is very advantageous, the trade that the people that are focusing on key levels will take advantage of, or the ones that are panicking on the nanosecond will miss. So you guys can see right here, 340, 250. I would still keep those on watch. I would wait to see if that pullback comes in at some time. For now, here's your short-term levels that could keep this market higher, but you have to understand they are very short-term levels. So these are thin levels. They're still possible to hold us higher, but they're very thin, right? And so the first one was yesterday at 21,400. Pretty thin level, really nothing there, just a little shelf that happened in the pre-market, but look, it held it, right? 21,400, held very strong yesterday on the NASDAQ futures. Now, the next level that showed up was right here, around that 21,450, right? So 21,400 right here, 21,450 right here, right? You can see how those levels held on the intraday. So those are some thin levels that we could watch today for pullback opportunities. The next one is very clearly right here. See these previous highs from yesterday? See these rejections from the intraday, right? And then look at the pre-market right here, 21,490, right? So these are levels, right? These are not levels that you go, my whole portfolio long off of because Desi said that it's going to go higher. Oh, yeah, there you go. These are the levels that you can watch, right, and take some potential shots off of. But these are, remember, guys, very thin levels. These are just levels from yesterday. These have no history behind them. There is no previous daily level at 21,490. There's no previous weekly high at 450. There's no previous major demand at 400, right? These are not levels that were created or that were previous levels in the past. Now, this right here, this level right here, this is your heavy level, right? This is the level that was the previous daily all-time high. So that one should be trusted a whole lot more than some of these thin structures around 490, around 450, around 400. So if you see a move down into 490 today and you long this and it breaks it, that's just because you have to understand it's not as trustworthy of a level, again, as these major daily levels, right? If you go to the daily chart or the 4-hour chart, the only level that you can look back to the left from this point is here. That's the only one. Everything above this is all short-term, nothing of history, right? No previous areas of support or rejection. So that's why you'd be more comfortable waiting for 340. You'd be more comfortable waiting for 250. Those are the big spots. That's what I'd be more comfortable on for now. If you want to scout momentum, right, then you're looking for 490, 450, and 400. Those are sort of short-term momentum type levels. Okay? You have to be able to navigate this. That's what sets you, that's what sets it apart. You have to be able to watch this level and sort of learn what's happening here. Are we holding it? Are we seeing that buying coming in, or are we failing it? And are we going to reject it and move down to the next one? This is where the money's made, right? The decisions at these levels. So that's that. NASDAQ or QQQ ETF, same exact concepts, right? We have some short-term levels. Here's one, 422. There's no history behind this level. It's just a previous day high right there. So 522, that's the spot to watch. Below that, 521, right? You can see this 521, 522, very clear here, right? Previous lows, previous highs. So if we come back to 22, possible long. If we come back to 21, possible long, right? We can see those levels that formed yesterday. Very nice. Below that, we have the 519.50, which is what held yesterday. That's another, right, level you could watch at previous day low. So the levels that formed yesterday, there's three of them. There's right here, there's right here, there's right here. Right? These are your stair-stepping levels. You can see, hold, stair-step, previous high, possible new low, 522. So I'd watch 22, I'd watch 21, I'd watch 519.50. You have to understand, again, these levels right here are short-term levels. There is no major previous level at these, like there's no previous reactions at these levels. These are just intraday levels from an all-time high breakout from yesterday. The only level that has any kind of previous structure at it, once again, is previous all-time highs, which is 516.67. And I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you where that is. That's down here, right? Right here. This is your previous all-time high level. I'm actually just going to make this 516. I'm going to make this down to 516. I'm going to make it that whole 65-cent range. This is your next major spot, right? Right there. Without a pullback to that level, right? Without a move down to this 516.67, 516 area, everything above this is new, right? Sort of short-term stuff. Any level you trade off of that's above this 516, 516.67 was created yesterday. And that means it is not as tested as, right? Not as tested as this major demand right here. So once again, I will continue to reiterate, this pullback will happen at some point. This will be the best long entry. That doesn't mean you have to wait for it, right? You can take a little scalp action. You can get a little aggressive if you know what you're looking for, right? You can definitely get aggressive before that at some of these short-term levels, but you have to understand if they fail, you have to understand why that happened. So 522, 521, right? Some possible levels there. 519.50, yesterday's lows, possible level there. But if you start failing these short-term levels and you have one of those weak days, you're going to come down to that 516. And this is not a downside to lose your shit over, right? This is not a downside to absolutely throw in the towel and start shorting the shit out of the market, right? There's no reason to short this market with confidence if you are sitting above previous all-time highs, okay? ES. Concepts remain the same, okay? Previous all-time high. I'm going to go ahead and mark this out on with the green levels. I'm going to say it's right between the 60-50. I'm going to say it's between that 60-50 and 60-35. I'm going to go ahead and make this yellow. I think that's going to be your sweet spot. Let me go ahead and clean this up for a second. 1 second, guys. I want to create this sweet spot. I want to make sure that we're all aware of where that comes in. So that is all. I'm going to delete this for now. Keep that like this, just so we have something there. That's all right here, right? This is your sweet spot. Your previous highs right here, between 60-50 and 60-35. That's going to be the next major opportunity, right? Back there. Because that is your major previous highs here. That is your major previous rejections here, right? And if you come back to that spot, that's your next big, long opportunity. But we are not there yet, right? We are not there yet. You can see what happened off this 60-50 just Tuesday of this week, right? Right there. Look at that. Look at that 60-50 hold. Look at that 35 hold, right? 60-50, 60-35, this zone right here, that's going to be the key spot. Now, before we get there, there are still levels that we could watch in the short term that may keep this ES higher. One of those, right, you can see yesterday was 60-75. That was a very clear level yesterday. That 60-75 stepped in. You have the 60-68, which is a previous high from Monday and Tuesday. So right here, you can see previous highs turning into lows. That's another spot that may hold. You can also see if we go down to the 15-minute chart here. Let's go to the 15-minute here on the ES. See this previous high from yesterday? That could very well turn into a support today, right, at 88. So you do still have these, right, sort of short-term levels. You have one here at 75. You have some previous highs here at 68. You have that previous high here at 59.60. But again, these are not any type of levels that have history behind them. This zone has the most history behind it. That would be the strongest pullback long to be looking for. But today, I would watch the 88. I would watch the 75. I would watch the 70, right, and see if those levels from yesterday, we can keep getting this more minuscule and dropping this down to shorter time frames. I would look to see if these levels from yesterday have any type of scalp opportunity, right? See that low? See these highs? That could hold there, right? See these previous highs right here? That held here. That could hold again on a pullback. These are very possible pullback holds to be paying attention to. So 88, 75, around that 68, 70 spot. You have that 60 level that we talked about. That's your major low, right? That's your major low. Dynamite Tiger. Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. SPY. So let's go to SPY. Previous highs here. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Previous highs here. Well, we had our 5. You guys should remember our 585. All this talk that we're having today all stems back to this side, right? This was the idea. You guys should remember this, right? Look at this, okay? This is the exact thing we're talking about, right? Huge squeeze to the upside, right? What's different? What's different now? It's the same thing, right? Huge squeeze to the upside over previous highs, right? And this is the period that we need to be aware of. This is very, very clear. This is the same exact thing, right? Squeezing, major squeeze, market just rally, through all-time highs, right? And we need to make sure we are aware that at some point, the second half of this move will come in, right? The second half of this move will come in at some point in the future. And we need to make sure we understand that that will happen, right? That is very, very possible at some point. So we don't want to be stuck with our pants down when that happens. We need to understand that at some point that will happen. And when it comes back down to that previous high, look at the long that was created. And that's where the money was made. So you're sort of looking at the same situation here, right? You can see here, we got through that previous all-time high, which was around that 601, right? I think it's anywhere between 601 and it looks like to me around that 599.20. So I'm going to go ahead and create that zone here. 601 to 599.20. I know it's a big zone, but I think that's something we watch there, right there. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my yellow zone now, right? Because that's sort of my golden pullback opportunity right in there. Extend that, right? So we have, let's go ahead and drop this down to the 1 hour now. Take a look at this over here. So you have your major previous highs here and that 601 spot. So that, to me, is going to be that great pullback long at some point. You're going to get that pullback back to these major previous highs, right? And that's where you're going to look to see if that next new long comes in. That would be your nice structured pullback, and that looks to be where that 20 SMA might start catching up to price action, right? Look at this daily 20. That daily 20 is probably going to start catching up to that 599, 600 area. And if we pull back into that daily 20, while it's coming back into this major zone, that's going to be sort of that, sweet spot to really look for that next big opportunity. But once again, we might not get that, right? We might not get that in the short term. Why? Well, there's some levels that are holding above. So, number one, 602.50. Let me go ahead and drop this down to the 15-minute chart so we can take a look at some of these spots. 15-minute chart, okay? Here was a low from Monday. You can see that created a low on Tuesday. 602.50, definitely a spot to watch. Right here, right in the 603.40, definitely a spot to watch. 604.30, 604 area, right? Previous highs here, previous highs here, previous highs here. Definitely a spot to watch, right? Next, yesterday's lows, 605. Definitely somewhere to be aware of. And then again, right here at 606.50, yesterday's rejections, short-term level to pay attention to. So there's absolutely still levels above that we can watch for those short-term opportunities off of, right? 606.50 and 605 would be the levels that were created yesterday. So I'm going to watch that 606.50. I'm going to watch that 605 today. If we fail under yesterday's lows at some point, that is probably a telltale sign that you're going to start getting some weakness, right? The day that you see a previous day low break, that's probably the day you want to say, hey, okay, all right, let's take it easy here, right? Take it easy. Got the Italian guy telling you to take it easy. That's probably where you say, hey, okay, this might start to give me that second, that back half move that gives me that greater pullback. So until we do that, because we have not seen that this week, right? Monday lows held on Tuesday. Tuesday's highs didn't even get tested yesterday, right? And we are at these lows here at 605 from yesterday. If we break under a previous day low, that's probably where you say, okay, maybe we start to get our bigger pullback here, right? That's sort of how I would sort of structure your mindset there. So for now, just keep looking to see if those previous day lows hold, because if we keep holding previous day lows, we're going to keep going higher. So that right now is 605, right? 605, and that's 602.50. All right? SMH. Oh, actually, I always go to the SMH. I go to the IWM first. IWM, a beautiful little pullback opportunity here, in my opinion. That daily 20 SMA is starting to catch up, right? See that daily 20 catching up? I would pay attention to this 239 spot. I would pay attention to this 239 spot. If that daily 20 catches up and this thing bounces off 239, this could be a very interesting trade. Watch IWM 239 there. Dow Jones, it's still holding up well, but not any kind of breakout of all-time highs. So that's something to be aware of. You can see around this 45. I'm just gonna call it like 45 150. Right? It's sort of like not exactly 150, but you can definitely see there's some clear structure here. Right? You can see. Look at all these highs here. Right around this 150 170. Very clear, right? So be a little bit careful there. You can see the Dow sort of stuck in this consolidation. If you can get above these highs at 150, then yeah, we're going to go. And then obviously these lows continue to hold at 44.8. SMH. All right. So made a video about this yesterday. Of course, made a video about this Monday as well. Hopefully you guys watched that. If you did and you've taken advantage of this move so far, congratulations. If not, here's the new update. You got to get over 254. You got to get over 254, right? That's going to be the the next must break level. If you can get over 254, then you're going to 257. And then really, if you get over 257, you're going to all-time highs in my eyes. But for now, 254, that's the spot. Oh, maybe a little bit of trouble today. What did the SMH do yesterday, right? That induced panic, right? The panic trade. The panic trade yesterday was the straight down move off the open after a gap up, right? Gap up and gap fill straight off the open. If you pay attention to levels and you know how the market trades, right? And you know that you were on a gap up, then you should not have panicked, right? That is a perfect break and retest of the previous day highs and the 50 SMA. I mean, it could not have been better. So previous highs, right? Gap up, gap fill, break and retest, and continuation. Absolutely perfection. So awesome to see that on the SMH yesterday. As long as that SMH is holding over that 249, I think this is very bullish. And really, I think it's still bullish in general over 247. So even if we do get that pullback to 247 and hold, that is still, I think, very, very good. So 20 SMA, 50 SMA, the two levels to watch here. Tough at 254. Okay? All right. Jobless claims coming in 3 minutes. We'll look at Tesla in a second. We'll look at NVIDIA in a second. Yeah, let's just jump into it. All right. Press that like button. What do we got? 20. Holy shit, that's terrible. Okay. No. No. No, we're sitting here. You can leave or you can sit here and just let me. I'm going to get water. Be right back. $800 likes. Ouch. Ouch. All right. Let's wait for the jobless claims, and then we'll go into some stocks. Get an update on the. Let's do a little update on the long term. I added a lot of money to my long term recently. Got a little aggressive, but whoa, why am I all out of focus? This thing's having trouble. What the hell is this camera doing? There we go. Yeah, I got pretty aggressive on some long term. I bought a lot of Tesla, bought more NVIDIA, and bought more Amazon. Those are my recent purchases here on the long term. Here it is. So this, holy shit, this week up 17. This is the power of compounding, the power of compounding gains, man. This week up $17,000 on the long term. 17 grand. This month 41,000. That's nuts. 41,000 this month. That's nutty. Last 3 months, 72,000. Year to date, 100,000 on the long term. 33,000 on Tesla, 33,000 on NVIDIA. This is the new Amazon position. Apple, $4,000. TSM, 6. Broadcom, Netflix up 9. But just compounding gains, man. This is what it's all about. You guys know I started this back in November. Guys, I started my long-term November 2nd of 2021. Does everyone want to know what happened on November 2nd of 2021? November 2nd, 2021, my friends, was when I started this long-term portfolio. Let's go back in time to November 2nd of 2021. Let's go back. November 2nd of 2021 is right here. Okay? I'm going to put a little line here for you. Where the hell is the price line or the date line? Where the hell is it? Hello? Here it is. November 2nd is right here. Let's zoom out. That was the high of the market. High. I bought the highs, right? Right there. After I started my long term, I instantly faced... Actually, you know what? This might have been the best thing that could have happened to me. Because right when I started my long term, I instantly faced an entire year of downside. And you know what I did? You know what I did? I bought that entire year. The entire year. I bought every single week. The entire year. Without hesitation. Right? And that might have been the best possible thing to do. Right? I will show you. Right here. I will show you right here. And then we will jump into stocks and we will get going. If it's blurry, you need to check on your YouTube settings and make it 1080p. Activity, right? Activity type. We'll go to trading, right? And we will go to, let's go all the way back to 2021. Can we filter, please? Okay. I guess I got to press this. There we go. December 6th, December 13th, buying every single week. 2022, February, go next, right? Look. Next, February, March, April. 2022. May, June, July, August. You get the picture, right? You get the picture. And so, this right here, that discipline that you need to put into your life, right? That discipline. If you're in your 20s or even your 30s, maybe even into your early 40s, I challenge you to start doing this. I guarantee you that when you're 50 years old, you will think back and say, holy shit, am I happy that I was disciplined with my investing when I was in my 20s? Because now I'm sitting on a $5-10 million portfolio that I can sit my ass on the beach on and do absolutely nothing, right? Man, it's really the funny. People think it's not possible, but you know what it is, guys? 90% of Americans do not do this, right? They do not invest for their future. They do not think about it, right? And so you can be that person. You just need to stay disciplined. And that's really the glory of it. So anyways, let's continue. I hope that at some point I have influenced someone to start this. And I know I have a lot of people influenced to start their long term. And I get messages all the time saying, man, I'm so happy I started buying shares. I'm up 30, 40, 50% this year, right? And, I mean, it's awesome to see. All right, let's continue. Here we go. Tesla. Man, it might be Tesla day. It might be Tesla day. Yeah, I mean, Henry, and and I hate to use the example of people that didn't do it, and I say this, Henry, and I don't say this to insult anyone, but I've also heard the exact other side of it. I've heard from older people that I talk to, man, I wish I would have bought shares when I was younger, right? Man, I would have wished I was just put a little bit of money every week into some shares, right? Oh, Apple was $5 a share. Man, I wish I was just buying some shares, right? I hear it all the time, all the time. All right, 362.80. That's your level. 362.80 Tesla. You guys can see right here. See those previous highs? Very clear triple top high. If that level goes above, if we break above 362.80 today, if we get above that high, this thing might be off to the races. This thing might be off to the races. So keep an eye on that today, 362.80. If we get above that, I think we're going to 372. If we get over 372, we're going to 384. Those are my next levels above. 372, 384. We got to get over this 362.80 high right here. 362.80, very clear. Now, what a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous example of higher lows being set in here, guys. It's a fantastic looking higher low formation. If we get this breakout, guys, this has been setting up very nicely. We've talked about those liquidity grabs within that 345, 350 zone, right? We talked about this almost every day. And look at what you continue to see. You continue to see those little grabs within that zone, right? But buyers continue to take that and just sort of push this back higher. This is a fantastic looking area of demand between 345, 350, right? And look at how this just sort of creeps higher. Beautiful look, 362.80. I've been buying a shitload of Tesla shares. I mean, I think I'm up to 700 shares now. So I really like to get to 1,000 because I want this to just be. I just want to say that I can make $1,000 every dollar Tesla goes up. That's really what I want to do. So I'm buying. I bought another 50K of shares this week. I'm going to continue to buy. That's really my game plan here. I see the long-term picture here. I see more than trying to take this with options contracts. I want to be the whale, not in option contracts on this trade. I want to be the whale in shares, to be quite honest. I see myself making more money on Tesla long-term by owning the company with shares than I do trying to fuck around with options, to be honest. Because Tesla is hard to trade with options. I've done well doing it. I will continue to trade options with it. But I no longer want to put, right, after I put $200,000, $300,000 in options and made that money on the election move, I no longer want to expose myself to that much size with Tesla options. I want that much size in Tesla shares, right? Because I know that long term, that will do much better for me. If I sort of average out the wins and losses over time, I'm going to assume that the shares will outperform me fucking around with options. Because there's times where you're going to give back a lot of money on Tesla, and I did, right? I did give back a lot of money on that Tesla move. So 360-280, if we get that thing over, I'd say you move higher to 372. I say you move higher to 385. I would continue to look to see if this demand steps up. If we reject today, right, if we get a little failure today, look to see what happens in the zone again, right? You might still need that daily 20 SMA to catch up, right? The daily 20 SMA is not there yet, right? You can see right there. It's not there yet. It's still right down here at 335. But if we get higher, right, and we get that 20 SMA up to like that 345, 350, maybe that's when it gets going. So look to see if you can get back to that 350 again. If it holds again, might be very nice. All right. NVIDIA. Okay, so we talked about that inverse head and shoulder. Everything is looking fantastic as of now. You need to hold over 143.50. This is a must-hold level. 143.50 and the daily 20 SMA. Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here. Right? 143.50. That's the key spot. Right? And that 20 SMA right here, if we hold above that, that is the spot. Right? If we hold that, if we pull back to that level and hold, that's going to be your new long spot to look for. The daily 20 SMA. If we fail back below that, I don't think NVIDIA is so much done, right? It's not going to stop going up long term, but I think maybe a little bit of a loss in momentum, right? If we do break below that 143.50, probably a little bit of a loss in momentum. So ideally, I'd really like to see that hold to really keep that juice flowing. If we push higher today, this is absolutely going to be a heavy spot today, guys. Heavy, heavy, heavy spot. Right here, 146.50. 146.50, 146.50, and these lows, this is going to be a big boy right there. So a little bit cautious there today. I would be shocked to see NVIDIA get through that. Nothing's going to change my mindset on NVIDIA long term here, but 146.50, that's your heavy, heavy spot. Be careful there. Above that, if you get above this shelf right here, I think you're going to all-time highs personally. Above this 146.50, I don't see much stopping. Maybe the 148, but I think you'll see the 150. So 146.50, big spot. You got to hold over 143.50. You fail under that 20 SMA today, you'll lose a little bit momentum, okay? AMD, a little bit of a perk higher on AMD today. 145, that's it, right? 145, that's it. We got to get over 145 on AMD. Above that, we go to 150. Watch 145 today. Broadcom, beautiful retest yesterday after a pretty shitty day again, but it held what it was supposed to. Right, previous highs on Broadcom around that 168.50. Look at that hold. Right, I know it was a really struggle day yesterday for Broadcom, really shitty day for Broadcom. But look at this, right? Perfect previous highs into lows. It was shitty intraday, but the hold came in, and you can see we're back above that daily 20. I would watch this today. 168.50, 166. Right, you're sort of stair stepping. So just be aware of the big supply at 173. That's all. ASML, I love this trade, guys. I would be this is probably my top watch today. This is probably my top watch today to get in some decent size. I already have a little boy on this, little March trade, but I might get a little bit more aggressive. 734.25, where does that come from? I think it's the daily chart. Yes, it's these previous lows right here. These previous lows from back here, the low of that candle is 734.25. I think if you get above this daily low, I think you will start to go, right? I think you will start to go higher. Yeah, I would absolutely watch this. ASML had this earnings gap down. If you get above this 734.25, I think you're going to start to see some juice. I would be watching ASML. Big comeback name. This is not something you trade on 0 DTE, please. TSM. Little bit of struggle yesterday around the 202, which is the big supply here. You can see right there, 202. I would look for pullback longs 198.50, pullback longs 195.50. Okay. Let's go to Apple. Apple, just a beast. I still think you want pullbacks, though, for the longs. 240, 239. Those are really the two spots I'd wait for that next long on Apple. Okay. I would stay patient for that. Microsoft, I think you want to wait for the pullback here. This is the best entry, 433. Yesterday, we talked about 433 and an absolute rocket ship right off 433. Could not have been more perfect. Look at this. Previous highs, break, retest, rocket ship. I think you want that pullback to 433 again, personally, before you long. That's what I would look for. Amazon, previous all-time highs, 216. I will require that pullback before touching this today. So if it doesn't do it and it just goes straight up, so be it. See you later. Thank you for the shares. This is the options trade. Pull back to previous all-time highs or pull back to 214. These are your options entries on pullback longs. Okay? 216, 214. That's what I would watch there. Netflix, 906. This would be an awesome retest. 906 right here. Previous highs. Look for that retest to 906. If you can hold that, I like it. 906 or 902. If we can pull back to those levels, I'd look for those pullback longs. Square, awesome, man. Congratulations to the Square boys. You guys know we were all over this. 94, look at that hold yesterday, moving into 100. I'd be careful at 101 today. 101's big supply zone. On the weekly, too. Right, take a look at this. Let's go all the way back. We got to go back big time on Square. Look at this Square. See that? 101's right here. It's these highs. See this? 101. That is back in 2018. If we get over that 101 spot from 2018, I think you're going to 107, right? Over 101. The next level is here at 107. But I'd probably look for some kind of a pullback before just slamming through that or chasing calls into 101. Coinbase MicroStrategy. Let's start with MSTR because this chart is pretty sexy. I'm not going to lie. Can we stop that? Okay, thank you. MSTR. 20 SMA, man. It does it again. It does it again. Look at this thing. 20, 20, bam, bam. Daily 20 SMA. If it's not on your charts, I don't know why it's not. I couldn't tell you. I could not rationale. I cannot understand why you don't watch it. Look at that daily 20. Look at the daily 20. It's the exact low from yesterday and Tuesday. Perfect. Beautiful longs right off the retest. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. Daily 20. Absolutely makes a ton of sense why MSTR is higher off that level. We are over this high right here at around that 420. I would look for a pullback long at 420 today. That would be a very interesting long. I'd look for that, or I'd look for a gap fill right around that 413 area. Right? Either that 420 or that 413, right here, that little gap fill. That would be the long to look for today, around that 413, 420 spot. If you can get that long, that's gorgeous. Next level of supply is at 453. If you get above that, you're squeezing right to 500. Right? This area is squeeze potential. Over 453, you're squeezing right to 500. Coinbase, 350. That's the big spot here, guys. 350 on Coinbase. You guys can see from back here on the daily chart, this is pretty much close to those IPO highs right here. 350, 370 are your next two major levels. Now, what did we talk about on Coinbase? We talked about that 330, and look at how you got above that here. Now, look. See this 333? See this 333? What's your best entry in my eyes? Gap fill. Coinbase loves to gap fill. Gap fill long. Coinbase loves to fill the gaps. I've seen it plenty of times on gap ups. Look for the gap fill on Coinbase today and nail it, right? 333, 330 zone. If we can come back to these previous highs, look for that long and look to see if that creates that next opportunity. Snow. Yeah, long snow yesterday off 180. Very happy with our long trade we took yesterday within the group. It's even down to like the 178, really. It's this whole area. 178, 180 zone looks to be a fantastic long spot. Right? Look at this. See these previous highs? Look at this zone, guys. This is gorgeous. Look at all these highs right here. Highs, 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 highs. Right? Look at that hold, please. Please look at that. Jay, the more you ask, the less likely it is that I will look at it, just so you know. It's the inverse, right? The inverse. The more you spam a ticker, the less likely it will happen. 178, 180, right? That's the level to look for. That's the level to look for a pullback today on snow. That's a beautiful previous high. Look for that to be your new long. Target would be 194. I'll give this one to Jay. 1650. That's it. That's what I'm giving you. 1650. That's your major supply. You can see if you zoom out. To the weekly chart. Right here. Weekly high. 1650. It's exactly where it's rejecting. Watch that level. Palantir, man. Oh, what a beauty. Who saw this yesterday? Who saw this yesterday? Can we look at NVIDIA? Christian, you're about 30 minutes way too late. 6750, 6750, 6750, 6750 on Palantir. Look at what the low of 67, look what the low of Palantir was yesterday. Look at this, please. Look. Look at this. Tell me that's not a retest. Look. Where was the low of the day yesterday on Palantir on the drop? 6750. It's the exact previous highs. It's absolutely beautiful. Bam. 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 Bam, bam. Right? Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. Love it. What else? I think that's about it. There's a few others out there, but it's time for us to go. NASDAQ futures, let's take a quick peek. Still just floating above these levels. 21,490, 21,450, 21,4. Big golden zones back at 340 and back at 250. ES, 688, 6,088, 6,075, 6,068. Golden zones back at 60.50. SPY, 606.50, 605 are some yesterday levels. QQQ, 522, 521, and that 519.50 yesterday's lows. Adobe, did they have earnings? When's their earnings? Pump, I can't give you, Pump, you got to stop sending me Adobe, man. I'm not going to be able to tell you what Adobe does on earnings. It's not possible. I appreciate the donation, but I'm not going to tell you because I have no confidence behind that. I can't tell you what technicals are going to do into earnings. 105, MU, same exact level, guys. Guys, everything's, okay, I need you guys to, when nothing has changed, right? What are we curious about, right? We've talked about MU 105 every day, right? We have not changed, right? Nothing has changed here, okay? There's no update, okay? 105 will continue to be the same thing I say until it breaks. So if we're here tomorrow and you say, look at MU, guess what I'm going to say? 105, right? And if we're here tomorrow, guess what I'm going to say? 105, right? It's the same exact thing. You can't long into 105, okay? You got to get above it. Without that, I'm not touching it. NASDAQ, let's see. A little bit of slippage. Let's watch some levels. Pullbacks are good. Pullbacks are your friend, not food. Okay? Let it pull back. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.